conflict prevention and resolution in times of geopolitical tensions.
He said this in a speech read on his behalf by Foreign Affairs and International Trade Minister Ambassador Frederick Shava at the UN Summit of the Future this Monday.
In business, Kuvimba Mining House is set to boost gold production at Shamba Mine.
And in sport, PSL log leaders Simba Bora eye another set of 3 points as they host bottom-placed Chegutu Pirates tomorrow.
Those are the stories that are making the headlines tonight. Good evening. I'm Vicky Maponga, and Nobo Mawungwa is at the Sign Language Desk.
And I'm Justin Matlatla. We'll be joined later on by Marilyn Gwenya from our Montrose studios in Bulawayo. We now give you the news in detail.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa says the United Nations should prioritize conflict prevention and resolution during the current geopolitical tensions.
Foreign Affairs and International Trade Minister Ambassador Frederick Shava read the President's speech during the UN Summit of the Future this Monday. Our Chief Correspondent Ruben Barwe has more.
This Summit of the Future ended its second and final day with the President, Comrade Emmerson Mnangagwa, thanking the Presidents of the General Assembly, that of the Republics of Namibia and the Federal Republic of Germany, for providing the leadership in drafting of the Pact of the Future. Multilateral solutions for a better tomorrow is the theme of the summit. Reading the President's speech was the Foreign Affairs and International Trade Minister, Dr. Frederick Shava.
The 2030 Agenda, the Paris Agreement, including the Addis Ababa Action Agenda, clearly focus on the what in terms of the goal setting, our commitments. Now it is time for us to focus on the how we can all effectively work together to meet those commitments and tackle the most pressing issues while preparing for a more resilient future that leaves no one and no place behind. Rallying behind the reform of the global governance systems, including global financial institutions and the United Nations Security Council, is a fundamental starting point. It is reformed institutions that are fit for contemporary challenging times that will assist as developing countries to meet our common goals. It is equally imperative that developed countries provide a comprehensive package of support for developing countries to enable them to transition to greater economies. This must include financial resources, technology transfer, capacity building initiatives.
The President, Comrade Emmerson Mnangagwa, in his speech said women and youths should be included in peace and security agenda, and Zimbabwe was supportive of the Secretary General's proposal on this issue. He said more emphasis should be on the developing a world receptive for positive change to be actualized.
Zimbabwe is relatively youthful as a nation, with more than 65% of our population below the age of 35. This presents opportunities for economic growth through harnessing the innovations and innovativeness and zeal of our youths. Our policies and programs have been designed and redesigned and strengthened to ensure that young people are key drivers of our social and economic transformation agenda. This includes the establishment of innovation centers at all institutions of higher education, underpinned by a number of new heritage-based approach to education 5.0.
The Zimbabwean leader said the aspirations of all Zimbabweans are to continue moving forward despite the impediments brought about by illegal and unjustified sanctions imposed by some powerful nations among us. He said his country will continue calling for the unconditional removal of these punitive measures that prevent development and are in violation of the United Nations Charter. The Pact for the Future should thus also denounce these coercive measures on Zimbabwe, he said. Ruben Barber, ZBC News, New York.
And in a related report, the United Nations General Assembly high-level debate is underway in New York, with calls for world leaders to unite in reversing man-made challenges bedeviling the globe.
The United Nations General Assembly 2024 began in New York this Tuesday. What is of importance is the bulk of the people who spoke first painted a very gloomy picture of the globe. The hottest spots across the globe, climate change, and also the dangers being brought by AI, artificial intelligence. The commitment of the political leaders of the world can shift the current challenges the globe is facing. These were the utterances of almost all the leaders who spoke first.
Our world is in a whirlwind. We are in an era of epic transformation, facing challenges unlike any we have ever seen. Challenges that demand global solutions. Yet, geopolitical divisions keep deepening. The planet keeps heating. Wars rage with no clue how they will end. And nuclear posturing and new weapons cast a dark shadow. We are edging towards the unimaginable, a power keg that risks engulfing the world. Meanwhile, 2024 is the year that half of humanity goes to the polls, and half of humanity will be affected. I stand before you in this whirlwind, convinced of two overriding truths. First, the state of our world is unsustainable. We can't go on like this. And second, the challenges we face are solvable. But that requires us to make sure the mechanisms of international problem solving actually solve problems.
Ladies and gentlemen, the day before yesterday, here in this very plenary, we adopted the Pact for the Future. Its difficult approval shows the weakening of our collective capacity for negotiation and dialogue. Its limited scope is also an expression of the paradox of our time. We walk around in circles between possible commitments that lead to insufficient results. Not even with the tragedy of COVID-19 were we able to unite around a treaty on pandemics at the World Health Organization. We need to go much further and provide the UN with the necessary means to face the dizzying changes in the international panorama.
In the last few years, the United Nations has failed to fulfill its founding mission and has gradually become a dysfunctional structure. The world is bigger than five is my motto, it's my credo, and this credo represents our common values, and we need those values more than ever in this day and age. International justice cannot be left in the will of five privileged member states of the Security Council, and the most dramatic example to that is the war, the massacre that has been going on in Gaza for the last 350 days. And since October 7, 41,000 Palestinians have been killed in the continuous Israeli attacks.
President Joe Biden of the United States also spoke, saying he will not be standing again. And after 50 years of service to his country, he still sees a ray of hope if people come together to see whether there can be a movement towards a better life for all.
The choices we make today will determine our future for decades to come. Will we stand behind the principles that unite us? We stand firm against aggression. Will we end the conflicts that are raging today? We take on global challenges like climate change, hunger, and disease. Will we plan now for the opportunities and risk of a revolutionary new technologies? I want to talk today about each of these decisions and the actions, in my view, we must take.
Ruben Barbe, ZBC News, New York.
The National Food Deficit Mitigation Plan is firmly in place, with government setting sights on preparing for the summer cropping season.
The Minister of Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services, Dr. Juvenile Muswere, revealed this during a post-cabinet media briefing in Harare this Tuesday.
Information, Publicity and Broadcasting Services Minister Dr. Juvenile Muswere announced the government has given a window of up to June 2025 for importing grain to mitigate food shortages as grain distribution to vulnerable communities continues.
A total of 39,698 metric tons have been delivered out of the expected 300,000 metric tons. The imported grain at the current consumption rate will last till June 2025. Focus will now shift to the purchase of local wheat in order to complement the imports. Meanwhile, harvesting of wheat has commenced and 1,737 metric tons have already been harvested as at 18 September 2024.
In line with the Second Republic's mantra of leaving no one and no place behind, the government has identified the Nembudzia Growth Point in Gokwe, Midlands Province, as the venue for next year's Independence Day celebrations.
Cabinet resolved as follows: that the Nembudzia Open Grounds at Nembudzia Growth Point in Gokwe North District will be the venue for the 2025 National Independence celebrations. That Nyamororo High School will be the venue for the Children's Party. That Nembudzia High School grounds will be the venue for the Independence Gala. That Mtapa Wawa Prison, Konmara Prison and Skombela detention camps be considered as the places of significance in the Midlands Province.
According to the second quarter Postal and Telecommunications report, government has made significant strides in increasing internet penetration and modernizing the country's telecommunications infrastructure.
Of particular note is that the amount of data and internet traffic on mobile devices increased by 12.5%, indicating that more online activities are relying on mobile data. The number of mobile base stations increased with the deployment of 272 long-term evolution infrastructure. Econet added 31 new base stations, while Net1 decommissioned 14 2G base stations and replaced them with 4G LTE stations. The transition of services from being voice-centric to data-centric has driven large investments in high-speed broadband infrastructure.
Local companies continue to invest in new technologies, with government welcoming the entry of new players on the local market as a positive development. Owen Mandova, ZBC News, Harare.
Wheat harvesting is in full swing, with AFC Leasing Company availing 56 combine harvesters throughout the country in response to government's call to secure the bumper crop.
Efforts to ensure wheat-based food security in the country have moved a gear up, with farmers commencing harvesting of the envisaged 600,000 metric tons of wheat. Chief Nembire is among the farmers that have benefited from government combine harvesters through AFC Leasing Company.
Nyaya dzokurima hadzidi kuti dziitwe kambere nokuti kurima ibhizinisi rakati kurei. Ndinodaira zvamasvika papurazi pangu maona pane urongwa hwewheat, chirimwa chewheat chandikarima. Ndakatanga ndiri ndoga ndichirima ndoga, asi ndokubva kwazouya presidential wheat program ndobva ndabatsirika zvikuru. Saka mbeu yangu yokutanga yewheat ndakaidyara muna musi wa15 April. Ndoya ndingangoti kuno kumacentral ndini ndakaita munhu wokutanga kuti ndikohwe wheat iyoyo pa 3.5 3.5 tons per hectare.
Tiri kutenda kuti vativinga panguva chaiyo chaiyo yatiri kuita basa. Tapiwa mushini kuti tiite basa.
In addition to provision of combine harvesters, the firm is providing machinery for summer ploughing.
We've started harvesting for winter wheat. What we are here is to also alert the farmers that we are ready for them for harvesting their winter wheat. We have about 56 combine harvesters across the country.
The bulk of the harvesting will be done at the Agricultural and Rural Development Authority ADA joint venture fields and irrigation schemes, which play a critical role in driving wheat food security in the country. Tapiwa Machemedze, ZBC News, Mzarabani.
The Midlands province has received inputs for the presidential and climate-proof Pfumvudza Intwasa schemes, setting the stage for a successful summer cropping season.
It is all systems go ahead of the summer cropping season as government has availed the necessary inputs on time to give farmers ample time to plan. The Grain Marketing Board GMB, Gweru District Depot, is now geared to disburse the inputs to farmers ahead of the cropping season.
We have received 43 tons of seed fertilizer compound D, which is the basal one. We have received 390 tons. And top dressing, we have urea, which is in stock, about 273 tons. So it's an ongoing exercise. As we receive, we'll also be dispatching to the farmers as the season progresses.
The Agricultural and Rural Development Advisory Services, ADAS, aid farmers to plan on time to avoid delays during the planting phase.
As far as Pfumvudza is concerned, the potholing is ongoing very well. We are encouraging farmers to continue preparations for planting this season. In terms of maize production, our target is 276,000 hectares. So most of that, part of that is going to be under Pfumvudza and under commercial farming.
Government has pledged to address food deficit through a cocktail of mitigation strategies for the attainment of national food security and self-sufficiency.
This approach is strategic as it bolsters agriculture production and productivity, inspired by favorable weather forecast associated with normal to above normal rainfall that point at high probability of a bumper harvest in the province. In this regard, ladies and gentlemen, the climate-proofed presidential input support scheme will support many households, including communal, A1 small-scale commercial farming, old resettlement and peri-rural household in the province.
The Second Republic is seized with transforming Zimbabwe's agricultural sector, guided by the Agriculture 8.0 model, which emphasizes maximum yields per hectare. Tafara Chukumira, ZBC News, Gweru.
African governments have made significant progress in growing the continent's diamond sector through compliance with global best practices.
African countries involved in diamond production have failed to derive maximum value from the precious mineral owing to compliance issues in production and marketing of diamonds as prescribed by the Kimberley certification process. This has resulted in the formation of the Africa Diamond Producers Association, ADPA, which has gone a long way in aligning trade to global best practices. As chairperson of ADPA, Zimbabwe has convened a meeting of other diamond producers in Harare for a 3-day conference to take stock of progress made in integrating and boosting the continent's diamond industry.
We are trying to look at other measures that have come from other quarters of the world, like Europe and the USA. We have come with measures which are restricting our ability to trade in diamonds. Of course, we know there was some bilateral issue with Russia, but as Africa, we feel we should come together and come up with standards that govern us as a continent. We take diamonds to be a very critical sector in the economies of Africa, and therefore we need to derive maximum value for our people.
On the local scene, diamond production has now reached 6 million carats annually, while the elimination of middlemen in trading is allowing the country to get fair value.
We have a lot of players who are coming, but most of these come as middlemen. We had experiences where when we are doing the auctioning of diamonds, the prices will misbehave because these people will be colluding. So as a government, we take measures to protect that kind of space. We don't just open up to everybody.
Zimbabwe is now compliant to the Kimberley Process Certification Scheme, which is a boost to the industry prospects, with government setting a target to produce 10 million carats a year to attain a $3 billion industry. Owen Mandova, ZBC News, Harare.
The Mozambican Justice Department has approached the Judicial Service Commission for insights on the juvenile justice system, which has been successfully implemented in Zimbabwe in order to protect children's rights.
The delegation, which was led by the Vice President of the Supreme Court of Mozambique, Honorable João Antonio Beirao, paid a courtesy call on Chief Justice Luke Malava in Harare this Tuesday, with the delegation interested in tapping into the children's courts.
We are here also to learn from you in terms of protection of children and also for protection of families.
Chief Justice Malava assured the delegation that the JSC will continue to find ways of improving the juvenile justice system.
The criminal justice system is deeply involved in the development of children. If the criminal justice system, not just the criminal justice system, any system of law in its practice and procedures does not take into account its role in the upbringing up of children, then it becomes an accomplice. It becomes an accomplice in affecting psychologically the development of children.
Earlier this year, another delegation from Mozambique's Justice Department was in Zimbabwe for another benchmarking mission, where they got an insight on how the integrated electronic case management system operates. Fungai Jachi, ZBC News, Harare.
Government is expected to implement provincial economic development plans as part of efforts to accelerate national economic growth in line with the vision of an upper middle income society by 2030.
In a bid to stimulate economic growth nationwide, government is set to implement provincial economic development master plans across all 10 provinces. The Permanent Secretary in the Office of the President and Cabinet, Engineer Tafadzwa Muguti, laid out the roadmap for the implementation of the approved plans.
We would like to see each province have a provincial GDP. We would like to see each province have a provincial production index. What are you producing in your province? We would like to see each province having a provincial employment index. Within the quota that you are reporting in, how many jobs have you created? But most importantly, we would also want to introduce a poverty index, a provincial poverty index. As the GDP is increasing, we want to see a decline in the provincial poverty.
Engineer Muguti also emphasized the need for local authorities and district officials to work together with ministers of state for provincial affairs and devolution.
We are concerned about the lack of spatial planning. There is a correlation between economic planning and spatial planning. You cannot plan to have any economic activity if you do not have control over the land. And what is now happening on urban to rural migration is a worrying trend, because it is now eroding the value, it's eroding the livelihood of those who are poor and in marginalized areas. So we are seeing that local authorities and district officials are not playing ball in terms of working with the ministers of state in terms of planning, and that's a big concern for us.
This initiative is part of Zimbabwe's broader economic development blueprint, which includes the National Development Plan 1, NDS-1, which runs up to next year, and NDS-2 from 2026 to 2030. Farai Gwaze, ZBC News, Harare.
As part of sustained efforts to combat Zimbabwe's escalating drug and substance abuse crisis, the Harare Metropolitan Province is establishing fully functional rehabilitation centers, with some of the facilities expected to be operational before year-end.
Harare Metropolitan Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Senator Charles Tawingwa, was this Tuesday accompanied by Provincial Drug and Substance Abuse Committee members on a progress assessment tour of identified rehabilitation centers. The team visited Beatrice Road Infectious Disease Hospitals, Tendai Ward, Matapi Community Hall, Tiga Grounds, Highfield Community Hall, and Kambuzuma Hall to evaluate progress in terms of renovations and readiness of the facilities to provide rehabilitation services.
We have a problem in Mbare in terms of drug and substance abuse. Yes, it is ideal with renovations again, and with this safety perimeter wall, it's possible we can rehabilitate it, provide the various needs in terms of wash.
Acting Mental Health Officer for Harare Metropolitan Province, Ms. Betty Sefania, outlined the progress made so far.
Possibly by end of year, we should be able to open one of the facilities that we are hoping to open. In terms of staffing, we have already made some arrangements to say how are we going to get staff.
Residents of Mbare, where two of the centers are located, are equally expectant.
Zvakaita semadrugs ana mutoriro banje chichi mabrongo tongofarira kungoti vanhu vasiyane nazvo.
Totambudzika nemadrugs vana vapanduka vana vazhinji vapanduka.
Vana vapera hatichatozivi kuti tovachengeta sei dzatomuka mudzimba.
The establishment of rehabilitation centers in Harare is in line with the Zimbabwe multi-sectoral drug and substance abuse plan, which was launched by President Emerson Mnangagwa this year as the country takes a proactive approach to address the menace of drug abuse. Abigail Tembo, ZBC News, Harare.
Well, we want to appreciate those who have joined us and are watching on our live stream on our Facebook page. That's at ZBC News Online. Remember, these stories are also available on our website at www.zbcnews.co.zw, as well as on our X, YouTube, as well as our WhatsApp channel, Instagram, and TikTok. We're at ZBC News Online.
We still have more news coming up after this break, and here's a look at what you can still expect in business. Kuvimba Mining House is set to boost gold production at Shamba Mine. And sport, PSL log leaders Simba Bora eye another set of 3 points as they host the bottom of the log Chegutu Pirates tomorrow. That and more coming up after this break. Stay tuned.
Zimbabwe's mining legacy is a story etched deep in our soil. It's a tale of hard work, resilience, and human ingenuity in unearthing riches and building a nation. This commitment to progress continues as mining industry players continue to unlock the vast potential of our mineral reserves, driving economic transformation through innovation, mineral beneficiation, and value addition. Are you ready to be part of the next chapter? Explore cutting-edge advancements and discover endless opportunities in Zimbabwe's expanding mining value chains at the 27th edition of Mine Entra, taking place from the 9th to the 11th of October 2024 at the Zimbabwe International Exhibition Center in Bulawayo. Register via our website www.zitf.co.zw. Mine Entra 2024, unearthing success, the mining value chains, innovation and industrialization nexus.
If you drink, be responsible.
You are in there, you are in there, you are in there.
Following the launch of the nationwide vetting program for veterans of the liberation struggle in 2021 by His Excellency the President, Comrade Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa, and the subsequent vetting in 2022, the Ministry of Veterans of the Liberation Struggle Affairs announces the mop-up vetting exercise for non-combatant cadres and war collaborators. This crucial exercise, which is scheduled to run from 25 September to 4 October 2024, is targeting individuals who did not get the chance in 2022. The final mop-up vetting exercise will be conducted as follows. For war collaborators, vetting will be conducted in the areas where you operated from during the Liberation War. The vetting teams will comprise wartime commanders and the war veterans you operated with. The teams will move around the areas you operated from according to schedules that they will communicate on deployment. For non-combatant cadres, vetting will be conducted in the capitals of the 10 administrative provinces. Choose the nearest provincial capital to you and present yourself for vetting. Representatives of wartime transit camps which were situated in Botswana, Mozambique and Zambia will be available to vet you. Camps in Mozambique include Chibawawa, Doroi, Mavudzi and Nyadzonya. Camps in Zambia include Jason Ziapapa, Maheba, Nampundu, Solwezi, Victory and Chisamba. Camps in Botswana include Dukwe, Francistown, Selibe Pikwe and Broadhurst. Vetting centers for non-combatant cadres are as follows: Harare, Zimbabwe Hall Highfields, Bulawayo, ZITF Grounds Hillside Road, Manicaland, Chiefs Hall Sakuva Grounds Mutare, Midlands, Gweru Theatre City Council Building, Mashonaland West, Public Service Training Center, Chinhoi, Mashonaland Central, Bindura Showgrounds, Mashonaland East, Buyane Hall, Lombotombo, Marondera, Matebeleland North, Lupane Business Center, Matebeleland South, Agricultural Showgrounds, Gwanda, Mashingo, Mucheke Hall. Please bring your national identity document or a valid passport together with a clearly visible photocopy of the identity document. If you belong to these two categories and you are not yet vetted, don't miss this opportunity to validate your credentials and receive the deserved recognition for your role in the liberation struggle. For more information, please contact the district and provincial offices of the Ministry of Veterans of the Liberation Struggle Affairs nearest to you. You can also contact the ministry's head office on 0242 710324 or 710251 or 710553 or 710378 or 710268 or 710463.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now in our next report here, this should be a reminder to all of us, for the initiation that was made by President Emmerson Mnangagwa when he said every first Friday of the month is Clean Up Day, Clean Up campaign, clean up your surroundings. Apparently heaps of garbage have become an all too familiar sight in the central business district of Harare, covering nearly all open spaces. Let's take a look at this report.
A repulsive stench and heaps of garbage have become a major source of discomfort to the public. Central Harare is now synonymous with massive landfills and some sort of reminder that you are either at Market Square or Copacabana bus termini.
Kumashuro kutaiza kuti every bus rese muri murenke rinofanira kunge rine bin. Izvozvo hazvichamonitwa. Munhu anogona kutenga mabanana ake ari kumarasa panze instead yekuti aise mubhini rinenge riri mukombi. Ndasva muri kungoona kuti pese pakangowanika marara.
Kana paripo hapo pakanzi iposition yekurasira marara ngapachitwe hand over kuti pakanzi paraswa marara akazara akuvhara road kanzuru ngaiuyewo nenguva iripo kuti vanhu vazhinji vaita sei vasarohwewo kana nekorera kana zvirwere zvakawanda zvinotibata.
Totokumbira kuti vawanze maresources nezvikwanisiro zvinoita kuti marara atorwe.
Pamarket Square taigara chiziva tinenge tine mabhini 8 to 9. Mamwe ari apo mamwe akatobonywa akatopwanyika. Achisina need yekugara ari papi panapo. Saka ipapo chikumbiro yatikumbira ku City of Harare ndiye kuti vangotisiro maskips chete.
The unpleasant sight has attracted the attention of the Environmental Management Agency, which has noted the need for consistency in refuse collection.
Local authorities, they just have to play ball because they remain the responsible authority behind waste management. We shouldn't get to a situation whereby we put the health of the public at risk as well as just the integrity of the environment.
ZBC News could not get a comment from the local authority as Harare Mayor, Councillor Jacob Mafume, and Harare City Council spokesperson, Mr. Stanley Gama, were not reachable. Government, through the Minister of Local Government and Public Works, launched Operation Chenesa Harare, but the efforts have not been complemented by the Harare City Council, despite levying and collecting rates for the purpose of waste management and provision of other services. Memory Chamisa, ZBC News, Harare.
Oh, Marilyn Gwenya now takes us through the next couple of stories from our Montrose studios in Bulawayo. Good evening, Marilyn, and it's over to you.
Good evening and many thanks to you, Justin and Vicky. And now in our following report, the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission has rolled out an awareness program on the proper channels of land allocation.
The question of land distribution was a critical matter when members of the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission, ZAC, joined forces with the Zimbabwe Republic Police, local authorities and other stakeholders in a capacity-building initiative in Lukosi, Wange this Monday. This comes in the wake of government concern over the illegal allocation of state land.
Imi ndavoka kasa kuja kwavanhu veZimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission kuti vofundisa utungamiri hwedio muno nemhuri dzose dzatigere nadzo muno kuti pandimirewo pa inyika aitotengeswa isu tiromirira chete utungamiri wenyika iye president timesho president atitofanira kutengesa inyika.
The Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission says the law is clear on how land is administered in Zimbabwe.
Exercise is very, very important, and that's why the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission has actually made it a critical point to visit all provinces and every district to make sure that we raise anti-corruption awareness. And we want all the people to know that they are the people who play the management role of the same land, and they cannot be known to be actually illegally parceling the state land.
The development comes as government has issued a stern warning against those involved in corrupt activities pertaining to land distribution. Mhlomuli Ncube, ZBC News, Wange.
The Zimbabwe Association of Women in Mining Associations has embarked on an awareness campaign to improve safety in the mining sector.
Formalizing operations, safety concerns and preservation of the environment have motivated the Zimbabwe Association of Women in Mining Associations, ZAWIMA, to take a proactive role in capacitating small-scale female miners in the Midlands province. The awareness campaign will serve as a platform for women in mining and relevant regulatory authorities to share ideas and reach common ground.
Kuva neruzivo rwokuziva kuti apa ndombomira kana mvura yanaya kuti ndoramba ndichiproceda zvinenge zvichitibatsira kusefa upenyu hwavanhu.
Toona kuti zvatibatsira zvizhinji pakuti tanga tisinganyatsonzwisisa zvinhu zvakakoshera utano.
Mining is one of the major drivers of the country's economy, and women are among key players that have come in to boost the sector.
Totoona sekuti madzimai aya akanyatsosaporwa zvakakwana, they will make a significant contribution to target yedu senyika, that 12 billion economy.
It will actually empower a woman positively, to start with those source responsible, because they would have learned about these health issues and the mitigation measures to take care of their projects, because we are saying mining is a business like any other business. Hence you need to take care of, grow from there. So once you grow, you're also growing the economy.
The engagement comes as more women and youths are taking up mining activities across the country. Karajushe, ZBC News, Shishabane.
Small to medium-scale enterprises in tourism have called on corporates to embrace shared business opportunities to grow the sector.
crunch discussions have been ongoing on the services which established players in the tourism sector can share with upcoming businesses. The small and medium enterprises SMEs are of the view that there are basic services and goods such as shuttle, refreshments, security and many others which should be set aside for them in a quota format.
We are all grieving the issue of the unfair playground the playing field out here. And I've lobbied pre-COVID, after COVID, to say we can create opportunities for ourselves.
These Africans are never considered for major jobs.
Iningi lethu already the issue of land is wakadi indaba ekhala ngayo. And some people who were colonially advantaged from way back, they simply take ama-title deeds, go and order 15 ama-Toyota Quantum.
During the Economic Empowerment Entrepreneurship Forum held recently in the resort city, there was consensus between government and the sector to rethink the approach.
Mabatirano anga ari atakaita SMEs kushiza zvitimo zvedu kuvakuru and tine tarisiro nevimbiso yatapiwa nemukuru kuti vachasangana nevamwe vavo vari mumaministries akasiyana siyana anosanganisa zvataurwa panapa.
I think kuze libe le combined association eyakhuluma nge-one voice. Angithi kube zokusithi ama-managers ama-hotels i-association ikhuluma labo nge-one voice. Ngoba sure we can't run away ukuthi kuqhatshwa abantwana bakhona. Angithi ngoba indawo le ndawo ilabantu bayo kufuze benefit abantwana bakhona first.
The conversations on how to share business in the tourism sector aim to ensure small to medium-scale operators are also empowered and play a role in the country's multi-billion United States dollar tourism economy. Mhlomuli Ncube, ZBC News, Victoria Falls.
And that's it for myself, Marilyn Gwenya, and the Montrose crew for tonight. Expect the team at Pocket Cell Studios in Harare for more news.
Many thanks, Marilyn, and welcome back to our Pocket Hill studios as we continue with the news. Youth participation in mitigating climate change will be topical at this year's United Nations Climate Change Conference scheduled for Azerbaijan in November.
We cannot save a burning planet with the fireworks of fossil fuels. We must accelerate a just, equitable transition to renewables with the resources we have available. The science is clear. The 1.5 degree limit is only possible if we ultimately stop burning all fossil fuels, not reduce, not abate, phase out with a clear timeline aligned with 1.5 degrees. The road to climate sustainability is also the only viable pathway to economic sustainability for your companies in the future. And I urge governments to help industry make the right choice by regulating, legislating, putting a fair price on carbon, ending fossil fuel subsidies. Climate justice is long overdue.
Zimbabwe is pursuing an inclusive empowerment drive in order to ensure equal opportunities for men and women.
This was said by the Minister of Women Affairs, Community, Small and Medium Enterprises Development, Senator Monica Muchangwa, when she addressed delegates on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly this Monday.
Africa's Agenda 2063 lays a clear vision of harnessing the potential as a key drivers of sustainable development. Leaders of Africa are committed to several protocols. African Union Commission Deputy Chairperson spoke on that.
Women are at the heart of Africa's development agenda. We have been focusing especially on closing the financing gap, which I think is a key hindrance still women are facing. Of course, as the African Union has declared the decade for women's financial and economic inclusion, decade running from 2020 to 2030. That was just after another decade that was focusing on grassroots women, 2010 to 2020. And they also put up initiatives, including a fund that is now being transformed into a trust fund for women, African women.
The United Nations Development Programme Administrator Mr. Kim Steiner spoke on the progress made and challenges faced by women in general.
Two themes bring us together: accelerating women's entrepreneurship development in Africa and de-risking the renewable energy viability gap, both of which are critical catalysts for inclusive development across the continent, as well as for accelerating the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals.
Standing in for the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Dr. Frederick Shawa, Senator Mtswangwa read the minister's speech.
Africa's Agenda 2063 lays out a clear vision for harnessing the potential of African women as key drivers of sustainable development. African heads of state have committed to several protocols for the realization of this noble objective, and we have been told here by His Excellency, and we are very grateful that that is happening. My government has witnessed a remarkable rise in women entering traditionally male-dominated industries such as construction, mining. We do have a woman in mining here. She will be talking to you. We have women in security and women in iron and steel value chain and many more.
The Minister of Women's Affairs, Small and Medium Enterprises Development, Senator Monica Mtswangwa, articulated Zimbabwe's position on how to accelerate women's entrepreneurship development in Africa and de-risking the renewable energy viability gap in Africa.
It is fact that entrepreneurship fuels economic growth, and women entrepreneurs have played an important role in this growth. Female entrepreneurship is key to promoting economic diversity, a sustainable economy, and long-term growth that benefits society and environment.
Together we can create a future where women are not just participants in the economy, but leaders, innovators, and change makers, be it in government, in the private sector, or in civil society, to mention but a few, said the Zimbabwean minister. Ruben Barwe, ZBC News, New York.
Still looking at news beyond our country's borders now, residents of South Sudan have had their mobility restricted under heavy flooding, which has left most roads inaccessible. Unprecedented floods have left roads that connect to the South Sudan capital of Juba's Leah suburb cut off, leaving residents grappling with mobility and power challenges. The local government has warned of more rains in the coming months, which could further worsen the situation that has also affected neighboring Sudan. Authorities have meanwhile begun sending food supplies, medicines, and clean water to Leah by air.
More than 500 people have been killed, while over 1,500 were injured after Israel launched large-scale airstrikes across Lebanon Monday night. According to the Lebanese Health Ministry, over 30 children and around 50 women were among the dead, while thousands in the south of the country have fled to safety. Hezbollah and the Israeli army have been exchanging fire across the Lebanese-Israeli border since the 8th of October last year. Meanwhile, Jordan's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister, along with the foreign ministries of Egypt and Turkey, have issued statements condemning Israel's military escalation in Lebanon and have called on the international community to take action to prevent a full-scale regional war in the Middle East.
Join us after this break when we return with business news.
This is Africa. And here, we're always on the go. There you go. Très bien. So when you're ready to go, let's go.
Short on the line.
He took my face.
You guys, did you see that? I just was like, what?
I really want you to find someone nice who would mean the world to you and make you so happy.
Bernardo Silva, Stones, Foden, a little bit of time. Oh, what a shot! What a goal! What a player!
Say hello to seamless transactions and effortless convenience with the new Inbox Swipe card. Swipe, tap, pay and go with confidence anywhere in Zimbabwe. Sign up for your Inbox Swipe card at any Inbox booth nationwide today. Have you registered for Inbox yet? If not, dial *569# or download the Inbox app and redefine the way you bank. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back and thank you so much for staying with us. Kuvimba Mining House is set to boost production and establish a gold processing plant at Shamba Hill Open Cast Mining Project by the end of the year.
The new open cast mining project at Shamba Hill, expected to produce above 250 kilograms of gold per month, is one of the projects meant to boost gold output at Shamba Gold Mine, according to Kuvimba Mining House Acting Group Chief Executive Officer Engineer Trevor Barnard.
We'd like to develop that project. It's a good resource, and we've defined that resource well. So there's a lot of focus on finding partners to develop that project.
Officials at the mine have confirmed that bankable feasibility studies on the Shamba Hill open pit project were completed last year. Along with implementation of mining operations, there are also plans to establish a 220,000-ton processing plant at the mine. Officials are optimistic mining operations at Shamba, Jena, and Freda Rebecca mines, all housed under Kuvimba Mining House, will play a pivotal role in contributing to the national gold yield. Theophilus ABC News, Harare.
From business news, we look into the arts. The melody of Zimbabwe's iconic musical instrument, the mbira, will fill Gwanzura Stadium in Harare this Friday at the inaugural Bira Rembira Festival. Farai Gwaze takes up that report.
Harare's Gwanzura Stadium is set to come alive as the popular venue hosts the Bira Rembira Festival, honoring Zimbabwe's revered musical instrument. Mbira diva Diana Samkange shared her enthusiasm with ZBC News.
Bira Rembira is an event iri kucelebrate iyo mbira as an instrument. You see kuti September has been placed as the month for mbira. The month iri kucelebrate mbira as an instrument. So on that day in particular, we are having so many artists from all walks of life, vanoridza mbira, culture, music. Kuti susu, we are to celebrate mbira as an instrument because it has been chosen by UNESCO, as an intangible instrument.
The star-studded lineup promises an unforgettable experience.
We have the likes of Japreza, myself, Diana Mangunya Samkange. We have V Mofu as well. We have Andy Muridzo. We have Sasha Madure. We have quite a lot of artists. Nyamashisha of Maungira and Narira, and many other mbira outfits, Vanoridza mbira, from all four corners of Zimbabwe. So it's something to really look forward to. And it's a whole new vibe. My events, it's all about other genres of music. But for the first time ever, we are having a Bira Rembira, which is a whole new different feel when it comes to Zimbabwean events.
The festival will also celebrate Zimbabwe's rich cultural heritage. Farai Gwaze, ZBC News, Harare.
We now take a break. Anashe Murobedzi will join us soon after with sport.
Want to pay for your DSTV account or renew your DSTV subscription? Dial *151# to pay for your DSTV with your EcoCash USD wallet anywhere, anytime, and get connected instantly. No need to wait in a queue or ask anyone to pay for DSTV anymore. To subscribe for your DSTV package with your EcoCash USD wallet, simply dial *151#, select USD currency, select Make Payments, select Direct Payments, select Pay DSTV, select Renew Subscription, and you will be connected instantly. Live life the EcoCash way.
Say hello to seamless transactions and effortless convenience with the new Inbox Swipe card. Swipe, tap, pay and go with confidence anywhere in Zimbabwe. Sign up for your Inbox Swipe card at any Inbox booth nationwide today. Have you registered for Inbox yet? If not, dial *569# or download the Inbox app and redefine the way you bank. Terms and conditions apply.
ZBC Current Affairs. Thriving for excellence and perfection in setting the agenda, shaping the Zimbabwean story and sustaining the narrative through detailed analysis and discussions, bringing to you polished live coverage of national events. We are ZBC Current Affairs, delivering to you the national budget, live parliamentary debates, independence, Heroes Day and Defense Forces events. We bring you insightful documentaries, special programs, and thought-provoking debates. ZBC Current Affairs. We are definitely Zimbabwean, telling an accurate, balanced, and unfettered Zimbabwean story.
Zim Digital set-top box decoders with all the 7 local television channels and 6 national radio stations are now available for sale. The decoder will give you viewers access to ZBC News, ZBC TV, ZBC Jive TV, 3K TV, Kiona TV, NR TV and ZTN Prime. No subscription is needed as all the channels are free to view. For $25 United States or the ZIG equivalent, the decoder comes with a cable plus indoor and outdoor antenna. The decoders are available at the Broadcasting Authority of Zimbabwe bars, Transmedia, and all the TV broadcasters.
Welcome to the Sports Corner. Anna Shimbrambadzi here with the latest in the world of sport. Now, log leaders Simba Bora have another chance to strengthen their grip at the top of the Castle Laga Premier Soccer League table when they host a basement club Chegutu Pirates at Wadzanai Stadium this Wednesday.
Premier Soccer League action resumes this Wednesday after paving the way for Chibuku Super Cup quarterfinals at the weekend. It is top versus bottom as Simba Bora host Chegutu Pirates at Wadzanai Stadium in Shamva, with the two sides separated by a whopping 33 points. Simba Bora boast of 16 wins and 5 draws from 26 matches, while Chegutu Pirates have managed just 4 wins and 8 draws from the same number of matches. Simba Bora's impressive form with 4 wins and a draw in their last 5 outings, including an unbeaten home record, makes them clear favourites against the side that they beat 2-1 in the reverse fixture. With 20 points, Chegutu Pirates face relegation if they do not start picking up points from their remaining 8 games. In other matches, Tel 1 face Bikita Minerals at Ascot Stadium. Ambitious Bulawayo Chiefs host defending champions Gezi Platinum at Luveva Stadium, while Yada take on Herentals at the Hart Stadium. Caps United travel to the colliery for a date against Wange, Highlanders welcome RNL Movers at Barberfields. Greenfield lock horns with FC Platinum at the Greenfield Arena. And rejuvenated Manica Diamonds will be up against ZPC Kariba at Sakuva Stadium.
The Zimbabwe senior men's football team, the Warriors, will play their next two AFCON qualifiers against Namibia and South Africa. The first match will be played at Orlando Stadium in Johannesburg on the 10th of October, with the reverse fixture set for the same venue on the 14th of October. Now, the Warriors have 2 points from their 2025 AFCON qualifying group after draws against Kenya and Cameroon earlier this month. Now, moving on to cricket, the Zimbabwe under-19 women's cricket team is gearing up for their final group stage match against Tanzania at the T20 World Cup Africa qualifiers in Kigali, Rwanda this Wednesday.
The young Lady Chevron started their campaign on a high note, thrashing Malawi by 144 runs, but suffered an agonizing one-wicket loss to Nigeria. Zimbabwe now face a must-win situation against Tanzania to secure a semi-final berth. Victory will propel Zimbabwe into the semi-finals alongside Nigeria, currently topping Group B with 4 points. Zimbabwe and Tanzania tied on 2 points, while Malawi remain pointless. Group A is poised for a thrilling conclusion, with Uganda and host Rwanda, who are tied on 4 points, clashing in a match set to decide who tops the group. In the same group, defending champions Namibia and Kenya will play for pride as they have found the going tough at the tournament. The top 2 teams from each group will progress to the semi-finals. The finalists will contest for the sole ticket to the Under-19 Women World Cup in the final slated for the 29th of September at Gahanga Cricket Ground.
That's it from the Sports Corner, where the report and focus is up next.
Hello, the welcome giving you today's weather news is Christine Swanda from the Meteorological Services Department. Let's get right to it. Today it started off cloudy and cool over much parts of the country, especially over the south and eastern parts of the country. Light drizzle was recorded in parts of Matabeleland South, Masvingo stretching into parts of Manicaland provinces, while the rest of the country experienced clear skies under cool conditions. However, as we got into the afternoon, it was all warm in all areas, and we're expecting these clear skies as we get into Wednesday onwards, with cool morning conditions and warm afternoons. Now, as we move on, our satellite image is showing clear conditions over much parts of the country. Cloud conditions are decreasing over the southern parts of the country from Wednesday up until Saturday evening. Now, as we move on, our minimum temperatures are forecast to be a little bit lower over Mutare, while the rest of the country should be mild overnight, resulting in cool conditions over the Manicaland area there. Now, with cloudless skies, and as we move on, our maximum temperatures are expected to rise from the southern parts of the country as we are expecting decreasing cloud activity, while the rest of the country should be warm by the afternoon, with Lupane being the highest with a 36 degrees Celsius. Now moving on, Bulawayo is forecast to be sunny from Wednesday up until Friday, with overnight cloudy conditions on Saturday, mild in the morning becoming warm by the afternoon. Freshening winds should be felt from Sunday and Tuesday. As we move on, Chinwali is forecast to be sunny for the greater part of the week, mild in the morning and warm afternoons. Gwanda sunny for the greater part of the week, windy here and there. Gweru, the Midlands, sunny from Wednesday tomorrow up until Friday, with some partly cloudy from Saturday. Harare is forecast to be mostly sunny for the greater part of the week, mild in the morning, becoming warm by the afternoon. Kadoma sunny throughout the forecast period. As we move on, Kariba, northwestern parts sunny. Lupane should be sunny for the greater part of the week, windy here and there. Kwekwe, the Midlands, sunny, partly cloudy on Saturday. As for Masvingo, should be sunny from Wednesday up until the end of the forecast period. Matopos, windy from Saturday into Monday. Nyanga, sunny for the greater part of the week, in the morning by the afternoon. Victoria Coast, partly cloudy with mild conditions in the morning, becoming warm by the afternoon. That's all on weather news today. Thank you for tuning in. Good evening, Zimbabwe.
And that was the way of the weather, courtesy of the Met Department. And that's how we end the bulletin tonight. Let's make a date again tomorrow. Good night.
Good night.
Zimbabwe yaramba, Zimbabwe yaramba, Zimbabwe yaramba, Zimbabwe yaramba. Police the police, guard the guard, chair the chair, chef the chef.
It is a good evening and thank you so much for joining us and welcome to yet another edition of Combating Corruption. I am your host, Ian Lambe.